Hello, and welcome to the Folk Project of New Jersey's Inside the Song for Thursday, April 13th, 2023. Here we host seasoned songwriters who will play their original songs and then offer us some insight about their inspiration and process. It's a behind the scenes glimpse of writing the songs that we absolutely love. I am Tina Ross. I'm a singer songwriter, a lover of music and how it makes me feel, and how it connects us all and speaks to and for us on so many levels. Tom Chapin is our guest this evening, and I'm so thrilled. He's a treasure in the songwriting and song listening community. His career spans 6 decades, 26 albums, and 3 Grammy Awards. And he has covered an incredible amount of creative ground. In addition to his work as a recording artist and concert performer, he's acted on Broadway, as well as working extensively in TV, radio, and film. And as a music maker, he has maintained 2 long and productive parallel careers, both as highly respected contemporary folk artist and as a pioneer in the field of children's music, which is such a delight. In both roles, he's established a reputation for insightful, heartfelt songcraft and effortlessly charismatic live performances. In either format, his songs are infectious. The New York Times called Chapin one of the greatest personalities in contemporary folk music. He's a powerful advocate on behalf of charitable causes. He's the board member of Why Hunger, which is the organization that his older brother, the late singer-songwriter and activist Harry Chapin, founded in the 1970s. And he also remains active in a variety of environmental causes and has, as well as efforts on behalf of music and arts in public schools, which we all know we need. We're so fortunate to have Tom Chapin with us tonight to play, share his songs, and songwriting expertise with us. So please help me welcome Tom Chapin.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Tina. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I am so thrilled about this. I was blasting your music all morning, and it just made me
Ah,
so happy. Really made me happy. I'm so pleased. Um, we usually start and I ask the same question to people each time, and that is, why do you write songs? What about songwriting compels you most?
um, that's interesting. Why do you write songs? Had to have songs to sing, you know. And it's also I started out, with my brothers. I was 12, Harry was 14, Steve was 11. In 1958, summer of '58, we heard a recording called "The Weavers" at Carnegie Hall,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
the seminal recording of the Weavers after they were blacklisted. And in 1955, they did Carnegie Hall, and that recording changed American music. I mean, Kingston Trio,
Right.
Limelighters, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Tom Paxton, on and on and on. And the Chapin boys listened all summer long. And this summer, Harry said, "We could do that." And he got a 5-string banjo and began to play, and I got a guitar. And we terrorized the neighborhood for about the next 10 years. Brooklyn Heights, we were in the center of folk music in America, Brooklyn Heights, which which was 15 minutes by subway from the village. Jump on the
Mm,
A train and go to the village, and we were there whenever we can afford something. We go see somebody and try to learn something and steal a song, steal an idea.
uh,
And I was not a writer at the beginning. Harry was a writer. Steve wrote some stuff, and uh, but I mean, I was a part of the writing process. It's always been a collaborative event with me, and it still is actually. And I started writing later on when after the Chapin brothers went their separate ways, but I early on I just didn't have the um, I wasn't gutsy enough to try,
mm.
and of course what you have to do is write a lot of bad songs before you write good songs.
That's an important lesson, yes.
Yeah, and then but then I began to write, and as I've gotten older, it's become one of the things that keep moving me is a good concert, a writing a good song. Let me sing you this song, and also some of the great collaborators that I still have, John Forster and Michael Mark and John McCutcheon and John Cobert and Cy Khan, and through the years I've learned something. You collaborate with the best, and
Yes,
you get better stuff.
have. And you really have. And mostly prior to the pandemic, were you in the same room with them? Did you send them things? How did you do the collaboration prior to
Everyone was different. John Forster maybe taught me the most about writing. When we started doing the kids stuff in 1988, my daughters were 8 and 6, and they'd outgrown Raffi at that point, little kids music.
that?
And I thought, boy, it'd be nice to write some songs that fit this 4 to 10 age.
Hmm.
Once they're in middle school, they're not going to be listening to what with their parents. So this is the last chance you get. So how do you write good songs for adults and kids? So I got together with my friend John Forster, who we had done my brother Steve and I had done a couple of platinum selling records for the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh, I did not know that.
And they bought us out, but for a lot of money. I mean, the first one, Cabbage Patch Dreams, sold, I don't know, 2 billion, some ridiculous thing. But we had to do it in about 3 weeks. And my brother Steve was working in the ad world in New York City. So he got all the best friends he could, and everybody wrote a song or two, and that happened. So I met John Forster through that, who wrote some fabulous songs for that.
Mm.
And so in '88, I said, "Boy, how'd you like to write a kids record with me?" And the two of us sat down, and John Forster is a theater writer and I'm a folk writer, so I what I do is you get close and then you start playing it out for somebody, and you get reactions, and then you fix it. But John, once he gets off his table, it's gone, and that's it. So
That's
one of the
right.
things he taught me was, don't take the pen away too soon, and
Mm.
go back and hone it. The really good idea, let's hone it so that it feels like it's inevitable. And that was a huge learning thing for me with John Forster.
So
And now
did you find that you then stopped playing songs out when they weren't ready, and then you really waited to?
it depends.
Yeah,
I'm a folkie, so
yeah,
things
right.
got
I
close.
know.
But the songs with John were that way. But
Yeah.
then other people, Michael, Mark, and I would come together and come to my house and sit in the kitchen, and we work for like an hour and a half, and then come back the next day and do more. John McCutcheon, it was always on some festival somewhere or something that we'd just throw something together really quickly. John Cobert, I'd write a lyric, and if I didn't know what to do with it, I'd send it to him, and he's my piano player, and he's a wonderful studio guy. So he would write a whole tune and send it back to me, and then we'd have it.
Mhm.
Cy Khan, I'll do a couple of his things today. Totally different. He would come visit me. He has a sister in New York City, and so every year and a half or so, he come, I'm coming in to see my sister. I can give you a day and a half. So we write starts of like 8 songs. He comes here, spend the night, and he get close. Like, okay, that's good, and he let me write the tune and finish it. Well, you finish that one, I'll start another one, like that. And it was
Prolific.
whoa, very prolific and but I would take months after that to finish them.
Mm.
So everybody's different, a little different,
Yeah.
but what they all have in common is we trust each other. The thing about being a collaborator, one of my early bands, Mount Airy in New York, I had these great songwriters, but one of them, every time you mention maybe this lyric didn't quite work, is, oh, that's my favorite song. That's my favorite part. And
Mm.
yet, and if you get in that situation, you got to be let your ego at the door, and together find what it is, and inevitably ends up with stuff that's you would never quite have gotten it yourself.
Mm.
And but you also learn an enormous amount. So that's so when you ask why do I write songs these days, it's partly to see my friends,
Yeah.
and partly to see if we have an idea where it will go. What's the travel, and what's going to end up out of it.
The unknown and really finding it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really great. This is a good discussion for a lot of songwriters because some just kind of do it as a lone kind of exercise or by themselves, and others are, I know people are just kind of starting to co-write, and it's such a big thing now that people get
Well,
together.
it took me a long time to be brave enough to do that. You have to sit in the room
Yeah.
with somebody and you have to come up with stuff and he has to come up with stuff. And then I realized once you get with really the real professionals like John Forster and my guys, we trust each other, you know. And if it doesn't not working, I don't like that much. How about this? And we back and forth, and that's been a wonderful sort of a learning experience.
Beautiful. Wonderful. So let's play a song. What is your first song that you're going to do for
I'm
us?
going to do the first song that John Forster and I wrote together, and it was 1988. And I approached him about, hey, let's see if we can do an album for kids, and we discussed what it was, and he said, well, let's. I said, well, you know, I think we should use um, the folk possibilities, you know, around an answer song, this is the first song we came up with. Before the days of Jello lived a prehistoric fellow who loved a maid and courted her beneath the banyan tree. And they had lots of children, their children all had children. They kept on having children until one of them had me. We're a family and we're a tree. Our roots go deep down in history. From my great-great-granddaddy reaching up to me, we're a green and growing family tree. Well, my grandpa came from Russia, my grandma came from Prussia. They met in Nova Scotia, had my dad in Tennessee. Then they moved to Yokohama, where daddy met my mama. Her dad's from Alabama and her mom's part Cherokee. We're a family and we're a tree. Our roots go deep down in history. From my great-great-granddaddy reaching up to me, we're a green and growing family tree. Well, one fine day I may go to Tierra del Fuego. Perhaps I'll meet my wife there. We'll move to Timbuktu, and our kid will be bilingual. And though she may stay single, she could of course commingle with the king of Kathmandu. We're a family and we're a tree. Our roots go deep down in history. From my great-great-granddaddy reaching up to me, we're a green and growing family tree. I've been singing this song for 40 years or so. Well, it is, let's say 88. It's for 30 some years. And people have been sending me verses that fit their own families. And one guy and his family sent us a verse from New Jersey, and we had about 3 verses. We put them together. Well, what is that verse? They adopted a little Chinese girl from China. It said, well, Maylin comes from China. She moved to Carolina, where she met her sister Dinah and her brothers Ray and Lee. 'Cause families now are blended, and it's really rather splendid how people worlds apart can still become a family. Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the folks in Madagascar aren't the same as in Alaska. They got different moods, different foods, and different colored skin. You may have a different name, but underneath we're much the same. You're probably my cousin, and the whole world is our kin. We're a family, and we're a tree. Our roots go deep down in history. From my great-great-granddaddy reaching up to me, we're a green and growing family tree. We're a green and growing family tree.
Wonderful. I have actually. You're doing it on Tom's website. He has
Yes.
sign language for that song, and I was doing it while I was listening to it this morning, and it just adds a whole nother level of experience
Well,
to the
when
song.
when I do family concerts, we always do this. We're a family and we're a tree. Our roots go deep down in history. From my great great granddaddy reaching up to me. We're a green and growing family tree. If you do enough folk festivals and folk shows, there very often is an interpreter, a sign who does
Yeah.
American Sign Language, and it always adds so much to the event. And so Michael Mark and I collared somebody. How do you say that? Hey, and we said, this is not the actual thing. It's kind of the Beavis and Butthead version, but you can
Oh,
teach it to people.
it works well, and it's really great and fun. Actually, I'm going to show it to my grandson for sure.
Great.
You have this way of reaching us through the back door, and teaching us about or just highlighting diversity. And I feel like through that, we discover it within ourselves that it's really there through your songs. It's really wonderful, like your salad song and other songs, which I know you're doing later as well. It's just such a wonderful way of, um, you
Well,
know,
one of the first things we discussed was let's never say you should,
hmm
because that just turns kids off. Oh, I'm getting preached at. So it's always about how do you get, I call it getting through the neck of the bottle. Uh, Wanted to do a song about, recycling and with Michael Mark and I. And we started with a stegosaurus in the forest munching on some hay, lay down to snooze in a bed of ooze and sadly passed away. Her body changed and rearranged as she sank beneath the soil, and over time she turned to slime and then she turned to oil.
yes,
RECYCLE, that's the way it's supposed to be. So you tell a story about a dinosaur, and with the other thing, it's interesting about Family Tree that if you really look at that song, there's all those internal rhymes
yes.
that pop it. Before the days of Jello, the prehistoric. I remember John and I going, "Well, prehistoric fellow, what rhymes that?" I said, "Jello," and he goes, "You want to go there?" I said, "Yeah, let's try it."
I
And
love
it's
that.
you know,
It was a great way. It perks your ear. You want the first line of a song to be something that people, oh, really? And that happens a lot in your songs. I was going to point it
well,
out.
thanks. But again, it's that idea, and John is great about. We did one called "Sing a Whale Song," which has all these internal rhymes, and we got pretty close. And John said, "You know what? We're really close here. Let me take this home tonight and just make sure each of them work." That's the thing I learned from John, which is that really, because if it does that, then they pum, pum. What's the nice thing about some of these songs, and the new one we're going to do next is really true. But Family Tree is being sung by schools. In fact, there's a school in Dublin, Ireland. Dublin, Ireland has gone through this incredible revolution. They were during the Troubles. It was cousin against cousin, brother against brother, and always Irish themselves. And then they opened up the country, and all of a sudden, there's all these people from the Middle East and from Africa and from Eastern Europe coming in. So there's this school which took Family Tree as their school song because they couldn't find another song that kind of did this. And so I love that idea that this is their school song.
And your choice of a banyan tree was that, because they have these roots that spread out indefinitely. Yeah, it's a
I didn't know that so
great
much.
symbol.
I think that was John and I trying to come up with something from how an old beneath the banyan tree. I mean,
Right. Well, those
it works in that way too. Good.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It really is. And the one thing I wanted to point out about that song is that the verse has two chords basically, and the choruses are constantly moving through lots of chords. So while the song is still kind of starting on this, like the verse and the chorus are starting on the same notes, And you'd think sometimes when you're thinking about songwriting, well, how am I going to, separate the chorus? But I feel like, or just my interpretation of it is that you changed the kind of the rhythm or the movement of the chorus versus the verse. And even though they're similar sounds, it feels like a totally.
We're a family, and before the days of they start the same.
They start the
But
same.
we're a family, and we're a tree. Before the days of Jello, lived a prehistoric fellow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely changes, and
It's a good technique, actually.
yeah,
It's a good way of delineating the verses, yet keeping,
in
even.
the same world, but
Yeah,
Megan, yeah,
I thought it was really cool.
cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love doing this. It's great. So let's do another song. You were mentioning the next song.
Well, this is I just talked to John Forster, who because he's going to be playing at a club downtown, and he one of his cabaret stuff. But we were talking about Pretty Planet, and say this is probably going to be on our tombstone. This song, it's a song that I'll play the first version, which Judy Collins sang. It's Around for the Round Earth. Judy Collins sang, and my daughters Abigail and Lily, who were 8 and 6, first time they were in the studio. And this song has been sung, especially during COVID, by teachers across America and in Europe as well. It's just a one-verse song. It goes like this. This pretty planet spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Say till the morning light. Now that's the song, but it's around for the round earth, so that each of the three parts to it harmonize with each other. Now I can't do this now, and Tina can't do it because we're on Zoom, which doesn't work together. So, but if you want to, you can just Google it or go on my website and find it. This pretty planet, spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Say till the morning light. And this song was played to wake up the astronauts on the Discovery 7 space shuttle. We woke up John Glenn on his flight when he was an older man, and I used to say he'd still be asleep up there if it wasn't for me, but he is asleep up there now because he died. But what an interesting thing to have this song that goes out. You write a song like this, it's on a kid's record, and then it touches people, and who knew?
Beautiful. It's an incredible song. Um, and I, I, I actually was singing with you when you were doing it because it's so beautifully, the intervals just fit so well together. And it's great. And one of the things that also, just in terms of the songwriting portion of this, is that it also, each line will start with like the five of the chord, but then the first time you start on the five, and then the second time you sing in an octave higher, which makes it feel like a whole different line. And then you have that really great
Da 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 da.
that like crazy. It's like one of my favorite
Yeah,
intervals. That six. Major six. I love it. And you don't have it in many songs.
yeah.
It's not in a
And,
lot of songs, so it's
well,
very distinctive. I love it.
actually, the writing process was interesting because we were trying to figure out. We wanted to do. I decided to do a round, because it's one of the great folk forms. Is this round and with three different voices, and I remember John John came up with this pretty planet spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Went, oh man! And then we kind of worked on stuff and got it pretty close. And I went home that night and wrote the tune, or at least something close to that tune, and brought it in the next day, and it was done. It's just like. And then the question was, when trying to record it, who's going to sing it? And we had John's wife is a wonderful singer, but we thought it'd be nice to have a voice. So I called up Judy Collins's office, and I'd opened for her a couple of times, and I didn't get a thing back for a couple of. I sent her the tape of that and a couple of other songs, and the last song on the album, which is "Together Tomorrow, my friend," which she also sang. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I get a call from the office, and just when I was thinking, I guess that's not going to happen. Judy wants to know when the recording session is. I said, tomorrow. And she was so delightful, and of course that voice is just unbelievable, and it made it very easy. That was the first kids record. We just did it as a with our own money, and then A&M picked it up, who at that point had Raffi and Sharon Lois and Bram and stuff, and all of a sudden we sold, I don't know, that was 70 or 80,000 copies of this kids record, and having Judy Collins on there was a blessing.
You have so many adults now walking this planet who are sharing, who listened to it when they were younger, and now are sharing it with their children and grandchildren.
Well, it's such a delight. It really is. I'm reminded of Harry's Cats in the Cradle, which is this is the 50th anniversary. Let's see, December of, I guess in 2024 will be the 50th anniversary of Harry's #1 hit, Cats in the Cradle. And so they're working on a little documentary about it. But I remember Harry saying, what's amazing about this is it's not my song anymore. It's theirs. And I'm feeling that way about This Pretty Planet too, just that a song like this just goes out and be sung all over the place. And it's a blessing. It's like your kid doing something great,
Right. It is. There are kids, and it is. We are giving it up. We write it, and then we pass it on, and then it becomes people's own experience that way.
Yeah.
We don't hold on to it. So, what happened with Pretty Planet 2? Like, how did that come about?
Well, Pretty Planet 1 was in 1988. I think Pretty Planet 2 was an album which we just re-released called This Pretty Planet, because for Earth Day this year it's being re-released. And it didn't win the Grammy, but it was nominated for Best Children's Record, I think 2001. And it was a collection of all the environmental songs. And John and I were saying, he was saying, This Pretty Planet is in 4. He said, you can do it in this pretty planet, spinning through space, your garden. He said, it's a gospel feel. And so we started thinking, well, who could do this? And Ann Ruckert, a great friend of ours, I was taught to show, and they said, oh, get Cissy Houston. And I said, Cissy Houston, you mean mom of Whitney Houston? She says, yes. She sang on all the Aretha Franklin stuff, all that. She's one of the great background singers. Plus she I think she still has a choir in Newark of young folks. And so I said, well, how do you get her? She said, good friend of mine. She needs to meet you. So she called her up. And Cissy Houston, we hired to come in and sing the part. So I'm going to sing the version that we have, and it's the version of This Pretty Planet book, which I'll show you really quickly. Pardon my reaching back here.
No problem. It's really an incredible recording. People should really listen, because it is very spiritual.
This incredible book that we use these words, and Lee White illustrated it, and it's actually beautiful. But she came, and then we got at the same day. Oh, whoops! Oh, hello. I just knocked off a light here. Let me just see here.
No problem. So one of the things that I found in this new version was that you'll show it, but if people listen, you're going to play the new version?
I am.
You're going to. So the one line, all history led you to me.
And that is the best.
Led you to me. It just totally personalizes the song. It's just such a
That is my favorite line. So here's the version. It goes, winds blow, tides flow, shooting stars descend. And the sissy goes, shooting stars descend. It's Mother Earth. Our lives begin, middle, and end on this pretty planet, spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Say till the morning light. Time flies, ages go by, empires rise and fall. Here's the line. All history has led you to me on this pretty planet, spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a whole place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Say till the morning light.
Oh, I love this song. Somebody just said, Christina in the chat said, I sang This Pretty Planet with my second graders every year with sign language, and we loved it. That's a Christina. And then David Jackson from a faculty associated said he just joined the Folk Project. This is amazing. He just came from a very intense meeting, and this, a social action meeting, I think, and this really highlighted that for him, and it's just a perfect song for him.
Wow.
And he thanks you. He thanks you. It's a really
Thank you.
I just want to say, just quickly, I'm going to do a little thing, that this is a free will donation show. All the donations that you give tonight all go to Tom. And in the chat are the links, but it's paypal.me/Tom Chapin, patreon.com Tom Chapin, or Venmo at Tom Chapin Music. So please give generously. We just so appreciate, and we can show Tom some love that way. Even though we show love in many ways, but this is very helpful. So please do that, and you can also join the Folk Project as David did. So wonderful! That song is just very, very special. What is your next song that you're going to do?
The next song came about because Michael Mark and I, unknowns to each other, took our kids. This is before Sandy, the hurricane, took to Ellis Island, the museum in the harbor. I'm a lifetime New Yorker. We grew up first in the Village, and then Brooklyn Heights, and went off to school, came back, and then now I'm up the Hudson Valley, and I'd never been to Ellis Island. And I took Abigail and Lily. My wife was working that day, and it was just a spiritual event to go there and think about this. Now my folks came before and after Ellis Island, so they didn't come through there. But 17 million people, are connected to the people who came through Ellis Island. So so Michael and I were working on a song, the next week. I said, and I just mentioned him. I went to Ellis Island. You ever been to Ellis Island? He says, I was there last week. And he had taken his kids the same day, not the same day, but the same week. And we got started talking about it, and then we said we should write something, about that. And so we started writing a story song that goes like this. I took the little that I owned and packed a warm valise. left the old world to the mercies of the secret police. For 7 months I worked my way until I came at last to the seaport town where I finally turned my back upon the past. November's dark Atlantic seas turn rough and bitter cold. 14 days across the water, I was sick down in the hold. Then the word was passed, and out we tumbled on deck. I strained to see the great green lady of the harbor reaching up her hand to me. Anchor splashed, and there we were, so close, so far away. And all that night I watched the lights reflect in New York Bay. The rich folk got off early, but they made the steerage wait for the barge that finally took us to the place called America's Gate. Ellis Island, I haven't come here looking for your promised land. I don't believe your streets are paved with gold. But I know there's work, I know there's land. I know you need an able-bodied man. Inside all was madness in that crowded great stone hall. When I reached the desk I was trembling. A uniform was all I saw. Do you have money? Is your family here? Are they residents? Have you ever been involved in the overthrow of a government? The questions came. I tried to answer yes. I think so. No. I felt faint, I began to sweat, my tongue felt thick and slow. A doctor checks my skin, my eyes, what else are they gonna do? Then he stamps my papers and I think, my God, I made it through. Ellis Island, I haven't come here looking for your promised land. I don't believe your streets are paved with gold. But I know there's work, I know there's land. I know you need an able-bodied man. Took a ferry to New Jersey and I stood there all alone amid the throngs of people heading places yet unknown. 16 tracks all pointed west and I will choose the one. I'm 26 years old and now my life has just begun. Ellis Island, I haven't come here looking for your promised land. I don't believe your streets are paved with gold. But I know there's work, I know there's land. I know you need an able-bodied man.
There is so much to that song I would like to talk about. Seriously, it's like a brilliant song. It is a brilliant song. Is there anything else you want to say about it before I ask you some questions?
Well, it's I just sang it at the border uh, in in, uh, in February down in Swarita, and I did a benefit for the Good Samaritans, the Green Valley and Swarita Good Samaritans who are helping people at the border, not to get them through, but to give them water and give them food and help them if they need dress. And let me tell you, it's a powerful thing to just put it. And somebody afterwards says, "You got to write it for this moment right now," And we haven't done that yet. But John Forster and I are thinking about trying to maybe do that. But it's the story of it's a particular story, but it is a story of all of our lives, all of our forebears. If we live here,
Yes.
we came here in some form.
Yes. In terms of like songwriting and structure, I'm going to just talk about a
Oh,
few things and ask you some questions. First of all, it's, when we talk about not telling but showing in songs, you don't want to just tell it out. Well, this song is just such a beautiful way that you do that. Just talk about a worn valise and a secret police and just all of those things just put an immediate image in our heads. And we're right there with you in the song, especially in the beginning. So that is just great. The other thing is that the song starts, and I'm really into intervals, so the minor third. Da, da, da.
da, 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 da. Yeah, again, it starts on the fifth up to the seventh. Da, 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 dee, dee, doo. Yeah,
The melody is a
yeah.
minor third, and it's which is like makes us it's a sad thing, and one of the reasons why I think is that I remember that there was this study from Tufts University that they gave people these different, like, say, like, I left yesterday, or hello to you, or something, and people would say it in different ways, sad and happy, and people would actually speak minor third. They would actually use their voices in a minor third when they were talking about something sad with the same words, which I thought was really amazing. And you wrote this in, well, it's in B minor, which is really a very sad but hopeful key. It's a key that
Oh,
really is like melancholy with like a quiet expectation and hope. That's what B minor is. So the fact that that you're playing in A minor, but you did in B minor, is just like all of these things. And I don't know if you're thinking of this consciously, but it's really incredible. It's all underlying there, and it just is like, oh, it just like supports the song in just such a beautiful way.
I think what sold us, Michael and I, you try again getting through the neck of the bottle. I took the little that I owned and packed a worn valise, left the old world to the mercies. That's the important word of the secret police, which is just ironic, the mercies. And when we got that, we said, "Oh, we're in territory here,"
Yes.
and then you follow it, and where it happens, and then of course the whole thing of that's actually what one of the questions that they asked. Do you have money? Or is your family here? Are they residents? Have you ever been involved in the overthrow of a government? And somebody who barely speaks English, and somebody asking these questions, and so I was just once you got in there, you started visualizing just the story. You follow the story, lay it out there, and try to make it as visual as possible.
You absolutely did. I felt so much there. And the one other thing in the song is that in parts like America's Gate and My God, I Made It Through, and My Life Has Just Begun, you use the major chord instead of the minor chord, the E minor that's normally
Yeah.
in the B minor. So it just went, woo, it made it, it lifted it up and made it hopeful. I just
It
thought that
actually
was
goes right. It goes to the E actually, which is the
right,
fourth. And
right,
now from E we go to the A. Ellis Island. Now we're in A. Da, 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 da,
right.
da.
Major
Da,
feel.
da, 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 da. I think Michael was the one who came up with this. Do, 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 ba, da, da. Now you're back in that.
That's
That
right.
to me is very that the grace that comes back to somehow it's inevitable. And this little right, the tolling of that little chime.
Yes.
I sang this at one place, and these two songwriters said, "We're going to steal that chime. We have a song we didn't know what to do with," and that's where I said, "Well, it's out there now. You can take it."
Oh, absolutely. It really makes it, and it just keeps coming around, which is just so wonderful. Well, I
Cool.
just think that is just a brilliant song. I just,
Thanks so much.
yeah,
It's the great thing about it for me. When I wrote it, I just sang it, and now I kind of act it,
yeah,
when I'm on stage, because it just allows you to, you want to tell a story, you tell a story, but then then do you have money? Is your, suddenly you become the guy, and then he's like, I don't know, it's very dramatic in that way.
it is. You brought us right in.
So I want
Okay.
this leads us into the next one, which
Good, good.
is a children's view of how to do this. The same kind of story, the story of Michael and John and I were John Forster and I were trying to write a song about the melting pot that is America. For one, I think it was In My Hometown. I think it was the album, and John came in one morning and said, I think we have the wrong metaphor. I think, how about a salad bowl? And I said, you mean like we're going to be vegetables? He goes, yeah, okay. I call my town a melting pot, like a stew or a casserole, but we are not a melting pot. My town is a salad bowl. I appreciate this family of mine. We're tomatoes from a long and sturdy vine, and though we're juicy, flavorful, and sweet, we're not the only veggies on the street. My town is a salad bowl. It's full of delicious things, and the flavor that each thing brings delicifies the whole. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. My closest buddy calls herself a kook, but also says she's got a lot of zook. Kook, zook, whatever, it's a wash. She's just my friend, I love her like a squash. The spinach family's very, very shy. They don't yet speak the language, but they try. Some folks find the chili peppers hot, but get to know them, you could learn a lot. My town is a salad bowl. It's full of surprising things, and the flavor that each thing brings surprise-ifies the whole. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. One of the Bostons married an iceberg. They're bringing their kids up romaine. The Sprouts don't approve, they threaten to move, so we sing them this catchy refrain. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. You can sing this if you want. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. The onion refugees live with the chives, who are helping them start over with their lives. Some folks find the chili peppers hot. They say the shallots and the leeks are helping too, 'cause the scallions helped them out when they were new. We're so assorted and so important, there's no way of melting us down. But different scenes for different greens, our differences strengthen our town. Help me. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. A salad, of course, gets tossed, but none of the tastes get lost. The thing that makes you unique, uniqueifies the whole. My town is a salad, town is a salad, town is a salad bowl. is a salad. Town is a salad. Town is a salad. Last one. My town is a salad. My town is a salad bowl.
Woo! Perfect sing along. Oh, that's so great. And it really does make, again, just like your other song, the diversity accessible to children and adults. We all
Well, the thing that was fun about this was once John found the form, and then it was playing the game, and so you come up with the, closest buddy calls herself Cuke, Zook, whatever. She's a what? Spanish family, very shy. Don't need to speak the language they try. The chili peppers are hot. Get to know them. You can learn a lot. Yeah, so you just follow that down, and we took our time doing that, but it really pays off. That game, and the whole idea for the kids stuff, I call them family music, because parents have to buy the tapes and play them over and over and over again. So we want to make them kid friendly and adult safe. Because that's what that song is.
That is. Oh, it totally is. It's a great song, and just the deliciify and.
Oh yeah, we inventing those little funny word things.
Yeah, making up words that just makes again the catching the salad bowl whole thing is very catchy. It catches you. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm in. So it's great. So let's.
And it's about the taste. I love the moral is that a salad, of course, gets tossed, but none of its tastes get lost. The thing that makes you uniqueifies, which we had surpriseifies and earlier, uniqueifies the whole. I would never have got there without John Forster, I got to tell you, but we did together.
Very, very clever. It's a great song. So we have just a little bit of, about 10 minutes. We may go a little bit over, people. I hope that's okay with you. But I do want to hear all the songs that.
Right. Well, let's do this one. This is a story. My dad was a jazz drummer, wrote a book in 1948 called Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. His name was Jim Chapin. It's the Chapin book. And if you know a jazz drummer, ask him if they used the Chapin book. And if they took it seriously, they did. And so this is a song Dad taught us many times. He said he learned from a guy named Sanford Moeller, who had learned how to play drums. And then in the 30s, he suddenly discovered these old men who had been drummer boys in the Civil War. Now this is in New York. Been playing since they were 10 and 12 years old. And they were playing beautifully, not like this, but with the sticks held this way, I don't have a pen, but, but this way, and light, and not hurting themselves, because they had to play 12 hours a day, reveille to taps, and during the marching and the war and stuff. So imagine you're a 12-year-old, 14-year-old kid in the middle of this war, and you have, as Dad said, a terrible 3-foot calfskin drum you're carrying. And you have to go, and if you play like this, you're just going to hurt yourself. So Sanford Moeller learned from them, taught my dad, and Dad became the Moeller technique guy. And for the rest of his life, he taught people like the drummer at Kiss, rock and roll drummers, how not to like this, but hit it like this, boom. So twice like this, boom, boom, boom. Let it just bounce. And so this is the story he told us about how he got into this. Cy Khan and I wrote this. He was only 10 years old when he went off to war, and they gave him a calfskin marching drum. He beat it till his arms grew sore from Vicksburg in the wilderness. The older kids showed him the way, how to hold the sticks loose in his hands so he could play 12 hours a day. He was listening to a distant drummer, learning from the sounds of history. You could hear the rhythm rolling down from drummer to drummer, from Dad to me. Dad Dad was 17 years old the year he went away. He skipped school for 52nd Street, where he went to hear the big bands play. The joint was jumping, his heart was thumping. He'd found what he had to do. So he asked Gene Krupa late one night, would you teach me how to play like you? Gene said, kid, I don't do that. Here's who you should see. Sanford Moeller, that's his name. He teaches drums. Hey, he taught me. Now Moeller had learned from old men who'd been drummer boys back in the Civil War. And he taught my dad how to hold the sticks so he could play 12 hours or more. He was listening to a distant drummer, learning from the sounds of history. You could hear the rhythm rolling down from drummer to drummer, from dad to me. Dad was 49 years old, teaching drums and me, when Gene Krupa called him up one night and asked if he could come to see him. The stroke had taken Gene's strength away. He couldn't find the beat, I guess. So my dad taught him how to play again, like they were marching through the wilderness. He was listening to a distant drummer, learning from the sounds of history. You could hear the rhythm rolling down from drummer to drummer, from dad to me. I thought the song was finished. I sang it for Michael Mark and John Cobert, my band, and they go, cool, because they'd heard the story. Cool. And then they said, but where are you? I said, what do you mean? He said, what? Dad and me is the chorus. Where are you in the song? So I wrote this. I was only 12 years old when Dad bought me my first guitar at Manny's Music on 48th, where they treated me like the son of a star. We never learned to play the drums, but he taught us more than just a song, how to hold the music loose in our hearts so we could play a whole life long. He was listening to a distant drummer, learning from the sounds of history. You could hear the rhythm rolling down from drummer to drummer, from drummer to drummer, from drummer to drummer, from dad to me, from dad to me.
So wonderful.
Gene Krupa, for those of you who are of a certain age and don't know, was the first great drumming superstar. He was in the Benny Goodman quintet and stuff. And my dad went and saw them when he was 17 and watched him play. And oh man! So there was between the break, he went up to him, Mr. Krupa, and so this actually happened.
Okay.
And then yeah.
It is. It's all true. It's great. But you know, the way when you put yourself in it, you know, it actually, the line where, you know, in that too, how to hold the music loose in our hearts so we can play our whole life long. So that was a really important verse. It's interesting that you say that they suggest you put it, because that's where it makes it all of our stories and not just yours or not just your father's or anything. It's just it's a perfect way. And then the chorus just means so much each time you play it, because you're singing the same chorus, but you're revealing different things. And then it's, it's great. You know, the way
that's the ballad form, why it's so powerful, you know, the same chorus over and over again, but the story moves, and each time the chorus comes, you and then the more the story, and the more, and that is why it's such a power. That Homer used it. That's why it's been all of human history has been that. I remember we heard the Weavers and those stories and then Harry, of course, Cats in the Cradle and Taxi and Mr. Tanner, all those incredible stories that he wove. We've been doing this year we did one show. We meaning my family, my daughters, the Chapin sisters, Harry's daughter Jen Chapin, and her band, and my brother Steve and Harry's band, Big John Wallace and Howie Fields. We're playing at the down in Glendale on let me see what the date is, coming up next in a week or two. Doing Harry Chapin at 80, a retrospective of his songs with the original Harry band.
Where is
I'll tell
that?
you where it is. It's at the we're in April, are we not? Yes, the Chapin family at Glenside, Pennsylvania, at the Keswick Theater. There are about 300 seats left of the 1,400. So if you want to come, it's going to be amazing, amazing night.
Wow.
It's like 4 bands doing Harry's great hits. We did it we did it in Patchogue, Long Island, in January, and it was astonishing night. And so I get to sing Taxi with the Cats in the Cradle with everybody. My brother sings Taxi. We have John Wallace does Mr.
Wow.
Tanner, all those great songs. Harry would have been 80 this year, so we thought it was a good time to do a retrospective with the
Beautiful. It's
Chapin
definitely
family.
worth traveling to. Somebody just in the chat was asking about where you're playing, so that was a perfect little.
And I'm doing some things in the Hudson Valley coming
Sure.
up. I'm doing a couple of freebies actually. They're Earth Day kind of things. Let me see what's close by.
Please do, yes, because people.
March, April. Let's see, what am I got? I'm going to be in Park City, Utah. Not too close. I'm going to be in Glenside, Pennsylvania, on the 26th with the family. 28th, I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and then the 6th and the 13th of May. We're doing things on the at 2 p.m. at Cortland Waterfront Park in Verplanck, New York. There's an event happening there to try to make sure that Indian Point doesn't put all their radioactive water in the Hudson. So I'll be there for that. A lot of people are doing that. And on the 13th is a Clearwater outdoor Kingston, New York Earth Fair. I'll be playing at 2 p.m. down at this is all on my website, tomchapin.com. Those are close by. And then I'm playing at White Plains on the 20th, the Walkabout Clearwater Coffee House, just me solo, and that'll be kind of what we're doing tonight, doing some of my collection of songs across the board, some kids songs, some adult songs, some Harry songs, some old folk songs. It's a wonderful time in my life because I can kind of pick and choose from various places.
Yeah,
And if you're a little bit later, I'm going to be at the 10th of June at Mohawk Mountain House.
Oh, wow.
With the band. You can come up and maybe buy supper and to go come see the show. It's expensive
Beautiful
to
day.
stay there, but it's what a place.
Oh, yeah, you can go and hike and hang there.
You can go on my website and check out. There's some other stuff coming up in the fall and stuff. TomChapin.com and check that out.
Beautiful. So I'm going to just, we're going to do one more song, but I'm just going to just wrap up a little bit. Remind you, please, that this is a free will donation. PayPal.me/Tom Chapin, Venmo at Tom Chapin Music, Patreon.com/Tom Chapin. Please be generous. He gets it all, and it's so worth it. I want to let you know that this Inside the Song, if you're here, come the second Thursday of every month. We have such a wonderful array of songwriters. Next month on May 11th, I have Cozy Sheridan. She's coming to, that's May 11th, Thursday, May 11th.
Is this a Zoom?
It's a Zoom too. It's always this way. This is how it is. You can always go to folkproject.org and find the link to the Zoom, and it's just like this, and we just get a chance to explore people's music. This show does not happen with me alone. We have John Hone in the background. He's producing this evening. Yay, John. The Folk Project, Mark Schaefer, Gary Pratt, John Lamb, Kathy Cacavelli, Sam Edelston, and George Otto all are part of making this happen. Please think about becoming a member of the Folk Project. We have people all over the world We deliver music, we deliver programs. We have some wonderful things. I want to tell you about one other thing. This Saturday in Morristown, New Jersey, we have a Songwriters Day with Abby Gardner and with Dan Navarro, an all-day program at the Troubadour in Morristown, New Jersey, workshops all day, and then a concert at night. If you don't want to come to the workshops, the concert is open. Go to folkproject.org and take a look at that. It's a really a wonderful day. It's going to be the first of many. It's our first Songwriters Day. So if you're interested in things like this that we're talking about, we'll dig in and do all that as well. And I guess, and one more thing, tina.ross@folkproject.org. Email me if you have a person you'd like me to interview. If you just want to say hi, please do that because I'd love
Say it again slowly. Tina.ross.
Tina.ross@folkproject.org.
Cool.
Yes, that's where we are. So we're going to have your last song.
This is the title track of my new album, which is called "Hold Our Ground," and that's the title of this track. Sai Khan wrote a couple of verses and sent it to me and said, "You finish it," and I did. When times grow dark and life grows mean, the hardest times we've ever seen, when darkness overwhelms the dawn, can we find strength to carry on? When the high winds tear down what we built, do we give in to blame and guilt, or work and fight as we've done before, and rise once more, and rise once more? You are here, I am here, we are here together. Through times of strife, through times of fear, we will hold our ground forever. This is when I wish I was with you all, because there is an answer part, so you can sing at your own pace and your own time. It goes, you are here, hold our ground. I am here, hold our ground. And together, we are here together. Through times of strife, hold our ground. Through times of fear, hold our ground. We will hold our ground forever. When tempers and the earth grow hot, we'll trust the goals for which we fall. We'll not lose sight of a brighter day, nor lose one friend along the way. You are here, hold our ground. I am here, hold our ground. We are here together. Through times of strife, through times of fear, we will hold our ground forever. We will hold our ground forever. The common good is still our creed, to each according to their need. Though oceans rise and high winds wail, our quiet courage will prevail. Last chance. I am here, you are here together. We are here together. times of strife, through times of fear, we will hold our ground forever. We will hold our ground forever. Thanks, friends.
Oh my gosh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. And also thank you, Claudia, in the background. Claudia
Claudia Leibowitz. Thank you, Claudia.
She's just a delight to work with, and she's worked with Tom, and I didn't mention her name. I wanted to do that. So, Tom, this has just been an enlightening hour. Thank you so much for sharing yourself so openly with us all the time. Every time you play, you're just so present and inviting. I so appreciate it. We all do, and it makes us want to be better people. There's no question.
Ah.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Pleasure.
much, and I'm so glad you're doing this, Tina. Thanks for making me, allowing me to be part of it.
Oh,
And
sure.
thanks, friends, for listening. Thanks very
Thank you,
much.
everyone. Good night.
Hope we see you in a live situation soon.
Yes, check out Tom's website. Good night. Thank you for coming.
Good night.